Lydia, and today we are going to be making these amazing bomb homemade cinnamon rolls. Okay, these are so good. I actually haven't made cinnamon rolls from scratch in a long time. It's been about maybe a year or two, and I'm so excited to jump into this recipe with you guys. So if you're ready to get into this recipe and figure out how to make these cinnamon rolls and make them alongside with me, just stay tuned. Alright guys, so we're gonna jump right into this recipe and start off our cinnamon rolls. Okay, I'm so excited to do this, you don't even understand. Like, I love homemade cinnamon rolls. Let's start. So in this measuring cup right here, I just have some warm water, and it's about room temperature warm water. Okay, it's about 110 degrees Fahrenheit. I have some active dry yeast here, which I'm gonna throw right in there. And then I just have a little bit of sugar right here, and I add that in as well. And I'm just gonna stir it up so all the yeast is dissolved, all the sugar is dissolved, not really dissolved, but just so it can feed and it's all mixed in there. Okay, so it's looking like this. What I'm gonna do is just set it to the side and we're just gonna wait on it. Okay, you don't want to touch it or actually use it until it's nice and frothy on the top. So that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna take about 5 to 10 minutes. So once our yeast gets activated and gets frothy, we're going to move on to making the actual dough part. All right. All right guys, so I'm not sure if you can see it clearly through my container, but we have like more than half a froth. Okay, it's like maybe so but little liquid. So I'm just gonna pour this right into my mixer. I'm gonna get it all out. Now guys, if you don't have a mixer, you can actually do this recipe by hand or with like a hand mixer, just to let you know. It just takes a little more elbow work. So I got that in there. So in this bowl right here, we're just gonna add our sugar. I have vanilla extract and I have a little bit of canola oil in there. And I have 6 tablespoons of melted butter. And that I just melted and I let it come to room temp. I'm just gonna give it a mix by hand. So the first part, guys, I'm actually gonna start it by hand and then I'm gonna just put it in my stand mixer. So now I got that mixed. I'm gonna add my eggs. So I have 2 eggs and they were just lightly beaten. And then I have whole milk and buttermilk in this container. Ooh. And again, I'm gonna mix that by hand. So now over here in this, guys, I have some flour. So this is just all-purpose flour. I've added a teaspoon of salt, and I also added some baking powder as well. So the baking powder with that yeast is really gonna help make our dough rise, okay? So I'm just gonna add it right on in there, kind of mix this a little bit so the salt don't hit it right away. And I'm gonna start folding it in by hand. And once it gets a little thick, and I'll show you the consistency that it looks like, I'm gonna throw it right on my KitchenAid with a dough hook just until it just forms together. Okay? So like this really did not take long at all, to come together. So this is how it looks right now. It's not fully mixed. But what I'm gonna do is throw it right on my KitchenAid. Make sure it's hooked in. I got my dough hook here. And I'm just gonna let it mix on medium-low just until the dough comes together. Okay guys, so I just tested it. I stuck my finger on it. Okay, it's nothing coming back on my finger. The dough is kind of sticky, but it's not pulling on me or sticking on me, if that makes sense. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this right off. Okay, I'm gonna take my dough off. And this is what it looks like, guys, okay? So we're gonna take our dough off our hook. And I'm actually gonna grab me a little bit of flour, so give me 1 second. Okay guys, so I just got some flour in a little container because I want to control how much I use. I'm just gonna turn this out on this lightly floured surface. Okay, get some on my hands. I don't want to get sticky if I do. But I'm gonna turn all this dough right on out, just to help me out. Okay, so I have my dough here. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit more on top. And I'm just gonna fold it in on itself, maybe 1 or 2 times. Just to get a nice little ball. I have a bowl right here, and all I did was just lightly spray it with some Pam. We're gonna place that right on in there. And I'm gonna cover this with saran wrap and actually let it sit on my back counter. Okay guys, so you wanna let it sit out in room temperature or a little higher if you have a proofing box, but I don't have one. So I usually just let things sit out on my counter or in my pantry closet. And we're gonna let it sit out for an hour, okay? So I'm gonna cover it and we'll be back in an hour until the dough just doubled in size. See you. All right guys, so our dough has risen. It's been a little longer than an hour, I'm not gonna lie about that. But our dough has more than doubled in size. So I'm just gonna unwrap it. We're gonna punch our dough down and you get that nice little steam bubble coming from out of it. That's so nice, okay? We're just gonna, when it punches, like punch it nice right and down, guys. I'm gonna punch it down on top of each other about 3 times inside. And then I'm just gonna transfer this right here to my table. Came right out. I'm gonna grab a little flour just so my surface won't be so sticky. I just thought about it and I should have floured it before I put it down, but it's all right. And we're gonna roll this out to a rectangle. And you wanted to keep it as squared on the edges as possible. So just keep going around and just kind of pat this down a little bit just because it's not completely square. And I'm gonna just push some of that dough off that way. Even it out. So if you push it down like on the sides, not push it down, but move your hands back and forth. Try to square up your edges, guys. And then any spots like right here, I had a lot. If I keep it square and push it down, the dough will actually fall back in itself, which is nice. And then I can roll it out evenly and distribute the thicker part to a thinner part over here. And then do the same thing. So this dough is really forgiving, which is a great thing. And this is as big as I'm gonna get it, which is perfect for me. Right, so I'm a little OCD. Got flour going everywhere. I am a little OCD sometimes, sorry. But now that I got it out perfectly, I got it into a nice size rectangle, guys. I'm gonna start off, okay, keep your hands clean, but I'm gonna start off with butter. And this is just a couple tablespoons that was sitting out on the counter, so it's very, very soft. From the butter I was using earlier today. And I'm actually gonna use my hand and just spread it out on every surface. Okay. And I'm going all the way to the ends, guys. And it don't have to be perfect because I am gonna get my hands messy again anyway, all right? So now we have some cinnamon here. And we're just making some traditional old cinnamon rolls. So I'm gonna sprinkle this evenly, if I can, all over. I always like to do the cinnamon first Because if you do the brown sugar first, guys, you can't really see if the cinnamon is spread evenly everywhere, you know. So that's why I do like to do the cinnamon first, and I can get any ends I missed. And then now we're gonna go in with our brown sugar. Always, guys, the directions and the ingredients will be down below in the description box. And I'll tell you roughly about how much of like the cinnamon and the brown sugar that I used. But I really like to eyeball it because it really depends on how much you prefer. You know, we don't like that much sugar in this house. I try to cut back on the sugar. So I just do a very thin layer, and you see how I run my hands like across it. And that's just to make sure it's not like overpowering on top of each other. It's a nice thin layer. Because remember, you had the sugar that was in the dough. You have the sugar from this brown sugar here. And then you're also gonna have the sweetness in the icing that goes on top. Okay, so you don't really have to overdo it. And I'm just spreading it out evenly and trying to get all the corners, the sides. All right, so I just got this little end right here and I'm done. All right, guys, so at this point, you wanna start rolling your dough up. Okay, I usually like to see how many cinnamon rolls I can get out of it. You want to have them sliced about 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick. I don't really like too big cinnamon rolls, so I do cut it on the thinner side, and it also spreads out to the family more, and we share the calories, okay? So if I know my longer end is this way and my shorter end is this way, I'm gonna roll it the shorter wise just so I can get more cuts through the longer. And that's just my personal preference again. So I'm gonna grab up this end and roll it over. And then keep rolling. Alright, so I have my log here, which is nice. I'm just shaping it out a little bit. Now guys, what I use to cut my cinnamon rolls is a piece of, you probably can't see it, but right now I'm holding like dental floss. I'm gonna scoop those extra crumbs over there, grab my tray here that's already been sprayed, and I just put the dental floss right underneath my log and I tie it off. This gives it a really nice clean cut, okay? And you don't have to worry about using a knife and actually smushing your dough. So this is like a really good tip to use. So just always make sure you have some dental floss in your kitchen drawer. So I'm just gonna lift this piece of the log up a little bit, put my floss under. Now for your ends, you wanna just cut off a very small piece, because all you're doing is getting rid of that little nasty, I don't want to say nasty, but I'll show it to you. You're getting rid of this little piece because you want it to look like this, if that makes sense, okay? So this is what your end looks like, and then this is the piece you want to keep, all right? So I'm actually going to keep this, but I'm going to put that, not dirty, but you know, the inside down. Oh my god, did I lose my dental floss? Got it. And then we're just gonna keep going, the same thing, repeating the process. All right, these are the last two, and I might actually switch this to a smaller pan, like a rounder pan, just because I want them all to touch. But I'm going to cover these, let these sit in the corner just to rise for an additional maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And then I'm going to put these in the oven, guys, and we're going to let these bake. All right, so I'll see you real soon. All right, guys, so our cinnamon rolls are out the oven. Oh my God, they just came out the oven. Anyway, I have some icing here. Now there's two ways you can go about this, guys. You can do it with a cream cheese icing, which is what I did, or you can just do a regular powdered sugar and milk based icing glaze for the top. I like cream cheese icing because it is way more rich and creamier and it tastes amazing. So for this cream cheese icing, all I did was put some cream cheese, butter, and powdered sugar with a little bit of milk in the bowl. And I mixed it up until well incorporated. I also did pop this in the microwave, guys, for about 5 to 10 seconds just to make sure it was smooth like this, okay? And just smooth enough for it to pour over our cinnamon rolls, okay? So I'm going to pour these over our cinnamon rolls, and because they are piping hot, I'm gonna wait to try these, guys, okay, until my son and my boyfriend, everybody gets home. So when everyone gets home, we're gonna try it together, but for now, I'm not even gonna play with it. We're gonna scoop this icing right all over. Oh my God, this looks good. And because it's hot, you should see how it's melting over it. So delicious. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Guys, don't mind my dishwasher in the background. I have been cooking and baking today. I've had orders that I'm preparing for the weekend that's coming. Okay, and the frosting. This thing is so hot, guys. It's like dripping. You're gonna see it drip. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna put some over here on this side because I missed some. And these are cinnamon rolls. Guys, these are so amazing. I don't want to pick this up because the pan is so hot, but I am going to bring you in for a close-up. But guys, you need to try this recipe. Please, please, please let me know if you do try this recipe and tag me in it on Instagram, Facebook, any of my social media platforms would be awesome because I would love to see what you guys are making alongside of me. Okay, and if you do like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel and make sure your notification bells are on because you gotta know when some recipes be coming out. How you finna know if it don't go ding ding? Anyway, guys, that's all for me. I'm gonna clean up and finish cooking dinner because this is gonna be bomb banging for dessert. Anyway, I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye for now.